The Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins is a manga that was incredibly difficult to start discussing. No matter what I typed on the page, something about the series just eluded me. I had read the entire manga twice and I kept poring over it after the fact, but something just didn't feel right with anything that I typed. That's when I remembered an old J.J. Abrams quote that was tossed around a lot back when people were discussing his Star Wars movies.
So there's that. In terms of the content of it, you look at stories, you think, well, what are stories but mystery boxes?
Remembering this quote is what made everything about and surrounding this manga click in my head. Most people familiar with Jump as a magazine know that it's incredibly cutthroat. If a manga isn't performing as well as Jump wants it to, it gets axed and left behind, which is what many believe happened to Tyson 5's latest work. So I started looking through the manga with the lens of keeping readers invested week after week, and that's when it all came together for me. The manga itself starts with an incredibly interesting and unique premise. Our protagonist Tsubasa wakes up in a hospital bed surrounded by his family after a car accident, only to discover that they've all lost their memories. The family returns home and tries to integrate back into the lives they've forgotten, but discover along the way that the lives they aim to return to may not have been lives they want to return to. However, as time went on, the manga forsook that premise. Instead of sticking to the core mystery and going super in-depth with it, the manga kept piling on other smaller mysteries. After all, what keeps readers coming back each week like questions they want answered? Early on in the manga, it's revealed that what's going on here is the product of a dream, and in turn the manga becomes about both discovering the past and escaping the dream, which could have worked out really well. Throughout the manga, it's implied that there is some force that both began and is maintaining this shared dream, some force that doesn't want it messed with. This is further implied when both of Tsubasa's parents begin working with him in an effort to understand and escape the dream and subsequently disappear. Minako, Tsubasa's mother, being removed from the dream altogether, and Kakeru, his father, being given a completely separate life within the dream and being replaced by Sota. Sota, in another twist, is revealed to be Tsubasa's older brother, who left his family behind after they shunned his dream of being a photographer, and in turn smashed his camera. However, in the end it's revealed the dream was conceptualized by Kozo, Tsubasa's grandfather, but put into action by both of his parents. Kozo wanting to bring his disjointed family back together before he lost himself to Alzheimer's, and both of Tsubasa's parents wanting a chance to start fresh and be better parents. However, if everyone entered this dream together at some point, why would Sota not be present at the beginning of the dream? Why would Sota only be introduced when he replaces Kakeru? This makes even less sense because Kakeru is the one who is seemingly holding the reins to what happens in the dream, and his main motivation in beginning the dream is to be a better father to Sota, who he believes he failed. Even beyond that, if they wanted to be better parents to their children, why, if they were in control of it the entire time, would they remove themselves from it? That's on top of a mountain of other unsolved mysteries, like what did Minako do that she couldn't take back and felt so bad about it that it would make her break down while writing in her diary? Why were there different people living in the house when Tsubasa finally manages to convince Sota to return there with him? Why exactly did Sota show up at the accident, and beyond that, how did that even happen? There's a mountain of unsolved mysteries within this manga, but the crazy thing about it is despite the fact that the plot is full of holes and dropped plot threads, it's not enough to keep me from enjoying it, because watching Tsubasa strive to help his family through their struggles so they can come back and move forward together is nice to watch. The character interactions, watching these people work through different issues, is still incredibly satisfying. Page after page, I couldn't help but find myself rooting for the entire family the entire time, and I think that's a testament to how well Tyson 5 is able to write his characters. Maybe that's deeply personal to me, but it was just such a joy to watch the family make that effort to be better. Tsubasa especially was a highlight of the manga for me. Being the driving force of the plot, he was the one I was rooting for most of the entire time. It's just a shame because with the proper time, I think the manga could have been better. It's heavily implied there was a lot more to Tsubasa than we knew, and to see a more in-depth exploration of both the cast and the events leading up to page 1 would have done wonders. I probably would feel differently about the number of mysteries that the plot introduces if it actually had the time to make something of them. Ultimately, I do think that's what killed this manga in the broader sense, the lack of time it received to develop its plot points. Sure, you could argue Taisen 5 could have planned ahead for a shorter manga to make it more satisfying, because it does kind of feel like at a certain point there is a pivot to quickly wrap up the plot of the manga, but I think it's more on Jump personally if they cancelled it. Jump doesn't have the restrictions of being just a physical magazine anymore. They have the Jump app, which I pay monthly for, and with that there is seemingly endless amounts of content you could release on it. You can't tell me they couldn't have let it continue and only be uploaded to either the Shonen Jump app or Manga Plus app. However, I do want to say that's the opinion of someone who's on the outside looking in, someone who really doesn't know how the job of being a manga author works and is also basing his opinions off of pure conjecture. Which brings me to the ending. The ending is something I'm mixed about. I mentioned earlier that watching this family strive to be better was what kept me reading week after week. So, in the last chapter, when we had finally all gotten back to the real world and had vowed to move on and be better, everyone starts arguing with each other again, and I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of make my heart sink a bit. Now, the last panel is kind of what makes it a toss-up for me. Sure, there's a lot of arguing, but there's some happy faces in there too, and even though it looks like Soda is still going to keep forging his own path, he's at least here, involved with the family again. I think the general idea is that despite their imperfections, they're always going to be together as the Ichinose family, which I can get behind. But there's something that just doesn't sit right with me that after all this, the final chapter here, they are just being nasty to each other again. Ultimately though, the idea that they're all still sticking together is what makes me alright with the ending. That's what doesn't retroactively ruin the whole manga for me. So once again, despite all its flaws, I had a good time reading the Ichinose family's deadly sins, week by week for these past 30 or so chapters from when I jumped in. If this manga ends up receiving a physical release here in the States, I'll definitely pick it up. And it's short enough, at 48 chapters, that if someone asked me if they should read it, I would definitely encourage it. Now what I have to do is go back and read Takapi's Original Sin, because apparently that manga is fantastic. And beyond that, I'll keep looking forward to whatever Taisen 5 decides to put out next. Now, before I end the video off proper here, I do want to take a little bit to say thank you so much for watching and enjoying my previous two videos, the Kagurabachi video and especially the Dragon Ball video. It's kind of wild to me that those videos are doing as well as they are. I understand Kagurabachi was kind of a meme when I jumped out on it, and I wanted to, but I wanted to make that video just because I genuinely enjoyed that first chapter, and I'm going to keep checking in with it week by week, and we'll probably make some more videos on it when it hits a couple of different milestones. That's the plan. But no, honestly, especially the Dragon Ball video, it's insane to me. There is so many comments on that video that it's almost dizzying to look at. And I haven't had time, I haven't been looking through them all yet because I've been hard focused on making this script and a different, larger project that I'm looking into because it gives me an excuse to talk about Tokyo Ghoul, which is one of my favorite manga of all time. So that'll be on the way too. I think once this video gets done editing, hopefully tomorrow, from when I'm recording this, it's Saturday night, Sunday morning, I guess. I'll have time to go look through all of the Dragon Ball comments and respond to them properly. But what I've seen on there has just been fantastic and amazing. Even those who like, there was some disagreement on my thoughts on the magic system. I want to throw it out there. That's kind of just like a thought. I understand wanting to keep it more the same. But everyone who I've seen on there has just been super respectful, super nice. And it's the most encouraging thing I've seen on there in the entire time I've been doing this as a hobby. So I'm going to keep pressing forward with this, and hopefully I keep making some more banger videos. I've got a lot of ideas planned, and I hope you'll stay tuned for all of them when they come out. So with that being said, let's use the old sign off. My name is Soda, and I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I make. Peace.
ahead of us. Put your hands up, wave it side to side for good luck. For the nights like this, put your hands up. Love the moment even from dusk. Yo.